Birmingham is a modern, thriving city that has changed and transformed itself in recent years. But for parents bringing up children with a learning disability in black and minority ethnic communities, change is simply not happening as quickly as they need.
I was losing hope in every way, thinking that, you know, whoever I turn to, there is no support.
Sometimes I get really depressed, you know, what will happen, and there's no one who can help me.
How would we feel like, you know, we haven't got nowhere, you know, to take our anger out and, you know, like, all our, like, stress.
तो मैं तेरी ड्यूटी मैं तेरी जॉब संभाल लेती तू मेरी जॉब संभाल ले
Saying, my God, is there any end to it? What is happening?
I was crying for days and days, but I don't know where to go.
Black and minority ethnic communities in the city are known to be underrepresented in the provision of social services to meet their everyday needs as carers of children with a learning disability.
I care for my two sons, both of whom have problems. The older one is 9 and he suffers from a condition called Waardenburg syndrome, as well as autism, and he's deaf, partially deaf. The younger one is 8 years old and he suffers from Williams syndrome, which again he's got learning difficulties and behavioural problems. For the past 3 years, since I've sort of been a single parent, I've been looking after my children on my own, and I did feel the need to access services. I did have a lot of difficulty trying to find out which services were available for my children. I had limited information, which I only got from the doctor that diagnosed their illnesses, but other than that I had to sort of, you know, go on the internet, and I tried doing my own research, but it was quite difficult because they're such rare genetic disorders. I went to hospital, all sorts of libraries and stuff to find out.
I care for my son. He's 14 years old, and he was only 3 years old when I found out he got a muscular dystrophy, and it was really heartbreaking, devastated. I need some help to caring for my son, but at that time they don't provide me any help. I need some extra support with caring for my son, and emotionally as well. I need support for myself as well. I didn't know nothing about the services that time. I don't know where to go, so nobody there to tell me what to do.
His name is Ayaz, and he's 20 years old. When he was 6 months old, he had meningitis, and since that time he's having epilepsy and autism and challenging behavior problem. So many years I couldn't get all facilities for my son, which, you know, like which ones he was entitled to. You know, my son is not getting everything what he needs. I had some advice from other parents who got disabled children, but in social service they didn't told me, and no one's come to my house and tell me, you know, this is the right way to go, and there is a people who can help you.
There is a lack of understanding and stigma associated with learning disability in some communities, and this makes it difficult for carers to get support from within those communities.
Yeah, I care for my daughter, Aparna. She is 27 years old, and she's probably diagnosed autistic since she was 9. I don't think I asked for any social support or anything else. It must be my attitude, and it must be my ignorance, I have to say, at that time, not knowing what services are available or can I ask. It's not the sort of thing you talk to people in open, you know, like the dinner parties or having a drink and suddenly say, hey, do you know what happened last night?
They're old. My mom is a bit old, and she said I get scared if she has a fit or something. She said I can't cope with this. I don't know how you cope, like anything.
Many carers have a real struggle day to day to manage on their own, and in most cases do not know where to turn for help. The result is isolation and mental health problems, which can cause anxiety and depression.
And I don't know where to lean or where to go. That time I feel like, you know, killing myself that time, and I went into depression as well.
Really worried, really depressed. And my health is going down as well. I'm on depression medicine. I can't sleep because 24 hours I have to look after my son.
Yusuf is 12-year-old, and in September he's 13. And severe learning difficulty, cerebral palsy. सब ने फ़ोन किया कि मैं बच्चे ने संभाल सकती, बल्कि मैं कम्यूनिटी नर्स ने भी किया तो बच्चा ले जाओ, मैं सैटरडे संडे में रख लेवांगी ना, क्योंकि बहुत हार्ड है मेरे वास्ते 24 आवर दे बच्चे दे नाल बंदा मेरा लक दर्द करदा, लत्तां दर्द करदियां, पैर सुज जांदे, हत्थां नूं एक छिके दे नापी बनो, हैंड्स पेन होंदे, रातों नूं जगदा अगर
quite stressful thinking about the future, especially the sense of the amount of care she needs and how will it be provided, who is going to do it.
Service providers often attribute this lack of approach to the fact that black and minority ethnic communities look after their own within extended families and don't want to use social services, but this is far from the truth.
I've been caring for her about 11 years now. She's 11 in it, so 11 years now. Like, it's very hard looking after her like 24/7. She was born with cerebral palsy, and then they told me when she was about 11 months. I sort of helped myself, like, getting all these sports and everything. No one really helped me with, they didn't come home and tell me that you can get this sport or you can get this sport.
But yeah, I've heard about people that they probably rely more on their families rather than social services. But it's not my personal experience.
Well, I haven't got much family in the country anyway. I've just got a very small immediate family, but because everybody is working and they've got very busy lives, there wasn't much support I could actually get from them.
If parents did manage to get in touch with services, all too often they found that those services could not meet their language and cultural needs. It is not uncommon for parents to have an initial contact with social services and then find that their cases were not pursued.
Just when I need help, they don't give you help, and I couldn't hold of my social worker anymore. I was always on duty social worker, so they just pass your case to other duty worker or this duty social worker, so it's not being sorted.
I did turn to social services, but what I found was every time I was left, I'd have the initial interview, the initial visit, home visit by a social worker, but after that I wouldn't hear from them. And after a few weeks I'd get back in touch with them, and then eventually the case would be closed because they were expecting me to do all the running around. They'd give me a number of another organisation. I'd try to get through to them. They'd tell me that the service wasn't available due to where I lived or certain other reasons, and I'd always end up back to square one.
ठीक सी, पर अच्छे भी सी, ठीक सी मेरा ख्याल है, पर उन्होंने मैंने सही दसिया नहीं मेरा राइट की है। मैं उन्होंने फ़ोन किया तो कहते सी तन 130 घंटे देवांगे हेल्प ते, पर मैं 1 साल हो गया चाइल्ड मंडर ने मैंने मिली ढूंढ के कोई मेरे बच्चे जड़ा चाइल्ड मंडर आंदा है ना वो नस जांदा कहंदे असीं कोप नहीं कर सकते ना, तो फिर एक चाइल्ड मंडर मैंने मिली है हुण।
Few members of black and minority ethnic communities were aware of voluntary organisations like Mencap and the services they provide. And those who were aware did not anticipate that Mencap will be able to provide for their cultural and language needs.
Birmingham Mencap have provided me with a really excellent service. They supported me throughout until I actually received the support I was looking for, unlike other service organisations that leave me to sort of fend for myself.
Yes, I mean the only support, honestly, I have received is from Mencap, and that was surprisingly because when I was going through stress in my work, the counsellor that I saw contacted Mencap, and the person from Mencap came to see me, which was found really unbelievable, that rather than me approaching all the time and asking, and can I have something or can I have this or that.
It's a brilliant experience with Mencap. When I need some help, like filling forms, and they help me, and I'm going to the parent support groups as well twice a month. I really find it helpful, and they're taking out as well.
When she was about 5, 6, I saw her at one meeting. I went to a conference in it, and they were saying organisation Mencap, they help you, like, like they take like play schemes and outs and abouts, like team.
And Birmingham Mencap, they really helped me about these kind of issues, like my language, where I can't phone myself. They phoned behalf of me, and they wrote a letter for behalf of me, and I think they really helped me in this way.
In terms of Birmingham Mencap's position, it was essential for us as an organisation to be relevant to BME communities. Birmingham is a city that over the next few years, the needs of BME communities, BME carers, people with a learning disability will grow significantly. We had to ensure that if Birmingham Mencap was going to be an organisation that could meet those needs, that we would have to change. We would have to change the style in which we provided services. We would have to become much more diverse in the way that we recruited our staff, and we would have to be absolutely clear that if people came and used our services, those services were sensitive in a whole range of ways to the needs of the people coming and asking us for help.
Like if I don't met Birmingham Mencap, I won't go out anywhere. I'm just sitting here thinking who's coming, who will come and help me, and I don't feel like to go anywhere.
But with Birmingham Mencap, once Birmingham Mencap came in to help me, they made sure they were on their back and, you know, got what I wanted. The direct payments I was entitled to for the past 2 years, I've finally got them now.
It's very hard to break the barriers because on the initial meeting they're very tense because you're an Asian face and are you going to judge them? So what we tend to do is just try to relax them that this is our services, how can we provide the services, what sort of services would you like? But they're not aware of the services at all, nothing at all.
There were a range of issues that people were bringing to us. There was a sense of lack of communication, lack of clarity in the information people were able to get, a confusion as to where they could get that information from, but above all, a concern around consistency. And one of the things that we established here as a principle was that we would be consistent with people. We'd be consistent and we'd be honest with people. If we could help them and advise them and support them, we would tell them that. If we couldn't, we would tell them that too. And I think we very quickly were seen to be an organisation that at least people knew where they stood when they came to us.
Royal Mencap Society is pleased to be working with Birmingham Mencap to take forward the key messages that come from this valuable piece of research. We know we have to do better at learning from black and minority ethnic communities what will help and support them in working with the members of their families that have a learning disability. Messages to do with better communication and better understanding about the things that are important to them. We've got a lot of work to do within Royal Mencap Society to really be relevant and to get alongside those families and those communities, and we're determined that we will make progress in this area, and certainly we want to do it in partnership with other local societies, with social service departments, and importantly with the families themselves.
Birmingham is a modern, thriving city that has changed and transformed itself in recent years. But for parents bringing up children with a learning disability in black and minority ethnic communities, change is simply not happening as quickly as they need.
I was losing hope in every way, thinking that, you know, whoever I turn to, there is no support.
Sometimes I get